Have you ever watched a video about retirement planning and felt like it just skimmed the surface? Today, we're changing that. If you're a Texas educator, you're facing a retirement puzzle that many resources fail to solve. I'm talking about WEP, Windfall Elimination Provision, and the Government Pension Offset GPO. Two acronyms that can drastically alter the retirement landscape for those who haven't paid into Social Security. Here in Texas, where many educators contribute to the TRS or Texas Teacher Retirement System instead of Social Security, understanding the impact of WEP and GPO is not just important, it's imperative. But it's the intricate math behind these provisions that often goes unexplained. That's why this video isn't just another explainer, it's a deep dive into the actual numbers, the real life calculations that you won't see on your typical Social Security state. Notice that there's a gap in these videos out there in the information that we have online. Many explain what WEP and GPO are, but they've stopped short of showing you just how to navigate the complex math. In this video, we roll up our sleeves and we break down the math. This is part of what we do when we help Texas educators like you coordinate your pension with Social Security benefits, ensuring you make the most informed and efficient decisions for your future. So if you've been searching for more than just explanations, if you've been looking for solutions, then you're in the right place. Let's solve this puzzle together. The windfall elimination provision, or WEP, applies to people who've worked in non covered jobs in which they did not pay into Social Security and who also qualify for Social Security as a result of working in a covered job. Under the WEP, the Social Security benefit may be reduced. Normally, when the Social Security benefit is calculated and the three bin points are applied to the averaged index monthly earnings, the first tier of earnings is multiplied by 0.90. This is to give greater weight to the first tier of earnings. But if you are receiving a pension from an alternate retirement plan like ORP, your first bin point will be multiplied by anywhere from 0.40 to 0.90, depending on how long you've worked in the Social Security covered job. If the Social Security covered job was not your main job, say you worked less than 20 years in it, your first bin point will be multiplied by 0.40. Conversely, if the Social Security covered job was your main job, say you paid into Social Security for 30 or more years, your benefit won't be reduced at all, even if you receive a pension from a non covered job. Here's an example of how the Social Security benefit is calculated for someone who's not subject to the WEP. First, the highest 35 years are indexed and averaged. In this example, the AIME is 13,100 in calculating the primary insurance amount. Three bin points are applied to the AIME. The first bin point is multiplied by 0.90. Now, this gives the greater weight to the first tier of earnings. The windfall elimination provision affects that first bin point. Instead of multiplying it by 0.90, it may be multiplied by as little as 0.40. This has the effect of reducing the total Social Security benefit. The maximum WEP reduction will vary from each age cohort because it affects that first bin point. The bin points change each year. For someone born in 1962, the first bin point is $1,174. For someone born in 1960 or 1962, it would be slightly different. For someone born in 1962 who receives a pension from a non covered job and who worked less than 20 years in a Social Security covered job, the first bin point is multiplied by 0.40 instead of 0.90. That's a difference of 0.50. So the maximum WET reduction would be $587. So if this is applied to you, and if you were looking at your Social Security statement and you saw that benefit was, say, $1,200 because you had worked less than 20 years in the Social Security covered job, your actual benefit would be more like $613 after subtracting the $587. Now, remember that you're getting the pension from the other job. So that should help make up for the reduction. I can't tell you if the windfall elimination provision is fair. I can only tell you how it works. Well, I'm going to throw my opinion in there. I don't think it's fair. That's just Chris, right? Once this formula is adjusted to determine the WEP adjusted PIA, this is used to calculate the worker's own Social Security benefit. The reductions or credits will be applied to this amount depending on your age of application. The WEP adjusted PIA is also used to calculate the spouse's spousal benefit. If the spouse applies at full retirement age, the spousal benefit will be a 50% of the WEP adjusted PIA. The WEP reduction is removed for the survivor benefit. So if the worker whose PIA was adjusted for the WEP dies, the WEP reduction will be removed when calculating the survivor benefits for the surviving spouse. Of course, that spouse may also receive a survivor pension from the worker's non covered job. I mentioned earlier that you have had to have worked in a Social Security job for more than 20 years to reduce or eliminate the WEP. Well, it can't be just some little job that didn't pay much. You have to have had they call substantial earnings in the Social Security covered job. Here's the table what they consider substantial earnings, roughly $20,000 a year or so. The government pension offset also affects people who worked in non Social Security covered jobs and who will be receiving a pension from that job. But the GPO affects spousal or survivor benefits. So let's say a teacher in Texas or California or one of the other 15 states who have their own retirement system never worked in Social Security covered job at all. So she doesn't have her own benefit, her own Social Security benefit, but her spouse has always paid into Social Security and qualifies for a benefit of, say, $2,000 a month. Can the teacher file for a spousal benefit and receive 50% of her husband's benefit? Under the GPO, her spousal benefit will be reduced by two-thirds of her pension amount. So if her pension is $2,400, two-thirds of that $1,600, this is more than $1,000 of spousal benefit. So she would not be entitled to a spousal benefit. Again, I'm not saying it's fair, I'm just saying how it works. Now, keep in mind that a survivor benefit or higher, they equal 100% of the worker's benefits. So if the worker's spouse is receiving $3,000 when he dies and the teacher's spouse's pension is $2,400, two-thirds of that is $1,600, which is less than the $3,000. So after the GPO, she would end up with a monthly survivor benefit of $1,400. Sometimes people receive their non covered pension as a lump sum, right? This is one of the areas that we do a lot of recommendations on. It's one of the areas that we recommend quite a bit. What happens then? How do they calculate the two-thirds part? The Social Security Administration will refigure the lump sum as if it had received a monthly annuity. They have formulas for this. Then they would calculate two-thirds of that amount. Right. So this is, I've had people ask, what if I do ORP? ORP, same thing. They assume that when you take a lump distribution at the end and roll it into a different account, that is a total distribution, and they have a math problem to figure out why that looks like a pension to them, right? So you can't get out of this by doing ORP. Also, keep in mind that GPO doesn't start until the pension ends. This is usually at retirement. So it might be possible to receive a spousal or survivor benefit for a year or two if you're still working. Then, when you retire and become entitled to a pension, the GPO reduction would start. Sometimes people ask how the Social Security Administration knows you're receiving a pension from a non covered job. The answer is that you tell them. When you apply for your benefits, they will ask you if you ever will be entitled to a pension from a job in which they did not pay into Social Security. It behooves you to be honest when dealing with Social Security. There have been cases where the WEP or the GPO has never applied, either because that person wasn't honest or they were confused or whatever the reason was. Once the Social Security Administration found out about it, they went after all the overpayments. In some cases, it was many thousands of dollars, right? So they just hit pause on your Social Security. Don't let this happen to you. If the WEP or the GPO applies to you and you'd like some help estimating your benefits, please let us know. As we've navigated through the numbers together, it's evident that the intersection of WEP and GPO and your retirement can be complex, as it is critical. It's one thing to understand the math, right? But quite another to apply it to life's varying scenarios. Are you approaching retirement single, married, or divorced? Were you the higher income earner or was it your spouse? Is there an age gap to consider? Perhaps you're part of a couple where only one of you has TRS benefits. These are just a few of the decision points that can significantly influence your retirement strategy. This is where professional guidance becomes invaluable. I spend my days diving deep into these calculations, equipped with sophisticated tools designed to analyze every possible variable. My goal? To help you create a retirement roadmap that aligns perfectly with your individual circumstances. If you're feeling overwhelmed or you're just ready to take the next steps with confidence, I invite you, if you're feeling this overwhelmed, to schedule a complimentary retirement roadmap meeting with me. During this session, we'll conduct a thorough Social Security analysis tailored for you. Together, we'll chart a course that not only navigates these complex waters, but also maximizes your retirement readiness. Don't leave your future to chance. Click the link in the summary area below to set up your appointment today. Let's turn your complexity into clarity and plan your journey to a secure retirement.